Hi everyone, so welcome to my first yoga video. So today we're going to be doing a beginner's flow. It should last somewhere around an hour, and it's going to be a relatively simple vinyasa flow, which just means rather than holding the poses and then moving between them kind of robotically, we'll be flowing through them from one into the next. So with this kind of practice, it's really good to try and incorporate the breath as much as possible. But at the same time, don't worry if your breath doesn't perfectly match all of your movements, just make sure you breathe. So throughout the video, I'll be telling you when to inhale and when to exhale. And I'll be guiding you through the whole thing from start to finish. So you don't have to have your eyes on the video the whole time. It might help if you want to get a better idea of the posture or the position that we're in, but you should be able to flow through the video quite easily just by listening to the audio and I'm following what I'm instructing you to do. So before we start, if you come and take a seat on your yoga mat, grab yourself a glass of water, you can make yourself some tea. You can start with a jumper on if you want while we're warming up. And then as we get a bit warmer, I usually end up taking my jumpers and everything off. Not everything, but I can take, a few layers off. Oh, funny. So, yeah, grab yourself a drink and come and sit down on your mat. And we're just going to take a couple of minutes just to set an intention for our practice and to tune in with our breath and just to calm our nervous system down and for me to get all of my laughs out. Okay, so come into a seated position, a comfortable one. You can have your left or right leg in front of you, and the palms of your hands can be resting gently against your knees, or if you prefer you can turn them upwards, whatever's more comfortable for you. And we're just going to take a moment to set an intention. So maybe you want to think of the reason why you chose to do this video today. So it might be that you've never done yoga before and you wanted to try something new, or it might be that you wanted to get a good workout in the morning. Whatever your intention is, just think of that intention. Hold it in your mind, repeat it in your mind a few times. And we're going to try and come back to this intention throughout our practice as much as we can. And if you haven't got an intention, sometimes it's a nice idea to just think of dedicating this practice to someone you love. I like to dedicate my practice to my mum sometimes, because I know she'll always be happy when I'm doing yoga. So hold your intention in your heart and in your mind, and we're going to take a few deep breaths together before we jump into the more physical stuff. So we're going to take 3 deep inhales and exhales all together. So we're going to inhale and exhale. We're going to inhale through the nose, inhale. And when we exhale, exhale out through the mouth. One more time, inhale. And exhale. We bring the palms together, bring them into the heart center, and just bow your forehead to your fingertips. And we're ready to start the practice. I'm going to move my tea out of the way. Okay, so to start off, we're going to start on all fours, or tabletop position. And in this position, it's really important that all 5 of your fingers, or 4 of your fingers and your thumb, are pressing down into the ground and that your shoulder blades, there's a nice amount of space between your shoulder blades. So you don't want to sort of be hunched in your back. You want to make sure you're pushing up into your shoulders. And what we're going to do is we're going to take 5 cat-cows. So with a cat-cow, on our in-breath, on our inhale, we're going to drop the belly down towards the ground, and the chest and the head reach out forward, and you can take your gaze up towards the ceiling or just out in front of you, whatever's more comfortable. And on our exhale, we're going to push down into the ground with our hands and our knees, arch into the back and push away, and let the head drop down towards the ground so it's nice and relaxed. Inhale, we drop the belly down towards the ground like a cow. That's why it's called cow pose. And exhale, push up, arch the back into cat pose. Inhale, belly towards the ground, gaze up towards the sky. Exhale, round through the spine, let the head drop down. Inhale, belly towards the ground. Exhale, round through the spine, head drops down towards. One more time, cow pose, belly down towards the ground. And exhale into that cat pose. Push up, curve round into the spine, let the head hang loose. Inhale, you're going to return to a tabletop position. And on your next in-breath, you're going to take the right leg out and stretch it towards the back of the mat. And you're just going to rock forwards and backwards a few times. And then when you're ready on an inhale, you're going to lift the right leg off of the floor. But make sure it's not too high, so it's in line with the rest of your spine, as if there was a straight line running all the way from the heel of your foot to the tip of your head. And on the next inhale, we're going to breathe in. You're going to push down in towards your right hand, and your left leg, your left leg's already out. Your left arm is going to float up off of the ground. So we've got opposite arm to leg here. So your right leg is reaching towards the back, flex the foot, push into the heel, and your left fingertips are reaching out in the opposite direction towards the front of the room. I'm going to take a few breaths here, just balancing out, warming up the arms, warming up the legs, warming up the whole body. And on your next inhale, we're going to bring the arm and the leg into the center towards each other, and we're going to crunch them together. Exhale, reach back out. Inhale, in towards the center. Keep pressing down into the ground with that right arm. Exhale, stretch out. One more time, inhale together. Exhale, stretch out. And then lower gently the left arm and the right leg back towards the ground. Same thing on the other side. So just take a few moments. Maybe rock side to side. If you want to come back onto the heels and do some wrist circles, take a little bit of the pressure off of your wrists. Go ahead. And we'll meet back in tabletop position, ready to go on the other side. Okay. So, this time, you're going to reach the left leg towards the back of the room. And when you're ready, float the right fingertips up off the floor. Push down into the left fingertips, the right knee and the right foot to help ground yourself. Give yourself some more balance. And the left leg this time and the right arm are going to come off of the floor. Nice straight line all the way from your fingertips to your heel. I'm going to hold it here for a few breaths. Remember to breathe. And on your next inhale, we're going to crunch the right arm and the left leg into the center. And on an exhale, straighten back out. Inhale in towards the center. Exhale, straighten through the spine. Inhale into the center. Exhale, stretch out. And on your next breath, lower gently back down towards the ground. This time, everyone, take a moment, take the pressure off of your wrists. Take a few wrist circles. It's nice sometimes if you grab the wrist with your other hand and take a few circles like this. It's a really nice way to take the pressure out of the wrists. Make sure you twist both ways. And switch hands as well. I'm going to come back into our tabletop. Nice strong tabletop position. So make sure your stomach isn't dropping down towards the floor this time, and that your navel is sucked in tight. So you're working your core a little bit whilst pushing up into the shoulder blades and pushing away from the ground. On our next inhale, we're going to hover the knees above the ground. And if you tuck the toes, that will give you a little bit more support. So we're going to take an inhale all together. And on the exhale, we're going to lift the knees off of the ground to hover. Don't lift them too high. They should just be about 5 centimeters off of the ground. I'm going to hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let the knees rest. Take a little wiggle. Remember to breathe. We're going to do that 2 more times, okay? So we inhale all together, and on the exhale, we hover, okay? So, ready. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale, let the knees hover off of the ground. Just a few centimeters, or 5. I think I said 5. All right. Hold for 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower the knees. A little wiggle. Come back if you need to stretch through the wrists. And back to tabletop last time all together. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, hover the knees off of the ground. Keep tucking that navel in as if you're pulling your core in as tight as you can. And push away from the ground. Push up into those shoulder blades. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower back down to the ground. Okay. Wiggle it out. Take the pressure off the wrists for a moment. Coming back into that tabletop position. We're going to rise up into our first downward dog of the day. It might be your first downward dog ever. If it is, very exciting times. This is a great move. But again, it takes a lot of time for this posture to progress. So just be very, very patient with yourself and don't have any expectation of what it's going to look like. It will look completely different for everyone. So you're going to tuck the toes under again, and we're going to really nice and slowly push away from the ground, lifting the knees, and we're going to push all the way back, bringing those heels towards the ground as much as possible, lifting the bum into the air and coming back into a nice downward dog position. Now your heels might be like this, quite far from the floor, and that's absolutely fine. If you have a little bit more flexibility through the hamstrings, your heels might be all the way down, but probably unlikely, because we're not that warm yet. So just stretching out in this downward dog position, pushing into the ground, again pushing through the shoulder blades, let the head hang loose towards the earth. And you want to get a nice stretch down the backs of the legs. So thinking of trying to push those heels down towards the earth as much as you can. And keep those legs. Actually, it might be a nice idea at first to keep a little bend in the knees if it feels like there's too much pressure when your legs are straight. So feel free to keep a little bend in the knees for now. And we're just going to hold it here for a few breaths. So we're going to take an inhale and exhale out through the mouth. 2 more times. Inhale, exhale out through the mouth. Inhale and exhale out through the mouth. Starting with your left foot, we're going to rise up firstly onto the balls of our feet, and starting with your left foot, we're going to slowly start to walk in towards our hands. So we're walking towards the top of the mat. You can keep a bend in your legs, and we're going to try and get as close to our hands as possible without having to lift up. Okay? If you need to lift up, that's fine, then you can just walk to the top of your mat. And once you reach the top of your mat, we're going to all hang over into our forward fold. Now you can definitely keep a bend in the knees here as well if that's comfortable. Make sure you let the head hang loose again. This might be a nice time if you have a jumper on or a top to take it off. Otherwise it becomes a little tent and you can't breathe. So bending our knees as much as we need to. If we keep our knees bent in this position, we get a nice stretch through the back body and through the lower back. Whereas if we straighten the legs, we take that stretch much deeper into our hamstrings. So whatever's more comfortable for you, but maybe at this point in the practice, just keeping a little bend in our knees. Again, you might be here, and that's absolutely fine. Your arms might be nowhere near the floor, and you might be thinking, what is this woman doing? And that's absolutely fine as well. Okay, so if you're here and you're hanging down and the floor's looking like you're just never going to reach it, that's absolutely fine. So just getting that feeling, that nice stretch through the lower back, and through the legs, through the hamstrings. On our next inhale, we're going to lift up, straighten through the backs of the legs if we can, and lift up into a halfway lift. Now in this position, it's really important that the spine stays straight. So imagine the spine, again, is straight all the way from your tailbone, all the way to the tip of your head, to the crown. If you need to keep your arms, if you want to keep your arms on the floor, it's more comfortable, you can keep your arms on the shins, on the thighs, wherever's more comfortable. It might be nice to just keep your hands in a prayer position. And then on an exhale, we bend through the knees, take it back down towards the earth. On our next inhale, keep that bend in the knees, and we're going to roll up slowly through the spine. 1 vertebrae at a time, lifting all the way up. Hands come out to the side, rise above our heads. meet in the middle to kiss. And then they come down the centre towards our heart. Okay. So make sure you're right at the top of your mat, so you may need to take a little step forward. And the next thing we're going to work through is some sun salutations. I've left the heating on, I'm really hot. Sorry, so funny, okay. Right, so we're going to work through 5 sun salutations, okay? So I'm going to talk you through each of them. The first one I'll do nice and slow, so we can get used to the pattern, and then once we've done one, we'll start to pick up the pace a little bit, okay? So, for a sun salutation, we're going to start with our arms in mountain pose. So just nice and relaxed out by the sides. And on an inhale, we're going to rise the arms up to the sky. Or raise the arms, I should say. And on the exhale, bend through the knees and the arms come down through the centre and towards the ground. On an inhale, we take that halfway lift again. Arms can be on the shins, on the thighs, wherever's more comfortable. Exhale, palms plant on the earth. Inhale, we step the right foot back and then the left foot back. You can readjust a little bit if you need to. I actually came off my mat there. So now we're in a plank position. I'm going to hold this for 3 breaths each time we come into this position, okay? So again, same protocol, pushing up through the shoulder blades, taking nice deep breaths, pushing away into those heels. Think about getting that straight line all the way from the heels to the tip of the head again. One more inhale. And on an exhale, we're going to bend the elbows and lower all the way down onto our bellies as gracefully as possible. Catch your breath. And on our next inhale, we're going to rise up into a baby cobra. Inhale, so we're lifting the chest off of the ground. The head can rise up a little bit too. Exhale, we wave back through the spine. Bring the chest and the forehead back down to the earth. Inhale, lift the chest off of the ground. Just a baby cobra, so we don't need to lift too high at the moment. Exhale, ripple back down towards the earth. Let the head hang loose. Inhale, last time. Baby cobra. And we're rippling the chest back down towards the earth. On our next, we're going to inhale all together, and on the exhale, we're going to push up back into that plank position. Okay? So take a nice deep inhale. Exhale, tuck the toes, curl the toes under, and push back up into the plank position. Breathe out. Take a nice inhale again. And on an exhale, push back into your downward dog. Readjust with the feet if you need to. You might want to bring them a little bit closer towards your hands. And we're just going to hold here for 3 breaths. So take a nice inhale and exhale through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale through the mouth. Last time, inhale. And exhale through the mouth. This time we're going to walk back towards our hands, but starting this time with the right foot. So come up onto the balls of your toes, balls of your feet. And then we're going to slowly walk, starting with the right foot, all the way up to the top of the mat to join our hands. When you get to the top, take a nice forward fold. Wherever you are, you might be here. You might be all the way down. You might have a deep bend in your knees, or you might start to straighten up through the legs now and get a deeper stretch in the hamstrings. Next inhale, we're going to take it up into that halfway lift. Exhale, bend the knees, hands come back down to the earth. And next inhale, bend through the knees, roll up through the spine, arms come out to the sides, up overhead, fingertips kiss, and then we bring the hands back down to the heart center. So that's one complete sun salutation. So we're going to do 2 more, and we're going to do them a little bit quicker. Okay? So bring your arms back down into mountain pose. Take a few deep breaths. And on our next inhale, we're going to lift those fingers up back towards the sky. Inhale all together, arms sweep above the head. Exhale, arms down towards the floor. Inhale, take that halfway lift with a straight spine. Exhale, bend in the knees, hands back down towards the ground. Inhale, step back with the right foot and the left foot into a plank. And we're going to hold here for 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Push away up into those shoulders. A nice stretch through the back of the legs. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale, lower down towards the ground, bend through those elbows, and breathe out. Inhale, back into that baby cobra. So lifting that chest off of the floor, pushing down into the ground with your palms. Exhale, let the chest ripple back down towards the earth. Inhale, push away, let the chest rise. A nice little bend in the back and a nice open chest. One more time. Inhale, lift up, gaze out in front or towards the sky, and exhale back down. On our next inhale, we're pushing back up into our plank position. Exhale, let it go. Breathe out. Let the head hang loose. 2 more breaths here. Exhale. Inhale. And on your exhale, push back into your downward dog. And we're going to hold it again here for 3 breaths. Taking a nice deep inhale through the nose and out through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Sigh it out if you need to. One more inhale. And exhale. Sigh it out. Walking back up, toes towards the fingertips. A nice gentle walk, as close as we can. When we get to the top of the mat, take that forward fold again. If it feels good, you can grab opposite arms to opposite elbows. You can take a little sway here. Feels quite nice. Take some deep breaths. You might just want to stay here nice and still. Wherever you are, however close you are to the ground, and that's fine. And don't push your body beyond what feels good. It's okay to have a little bit of discomfort, but any sharp pains in any part of your body, that means you're pushing yourself too far. So make sure you're taking nice deep breaths and meeting your edge, but not pushing yourself too far. On our next inhale, we're going to lift up back into that halfway lift. And exhale, bend the knees, hands to the earth. Inhale, bend the knees, rise up, hands overhead, fingertips to touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. We're going to go through one more time, one more sun salutation. I'm going to go through this one a little bit quicker, so just make sure to keep breathing. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, bend through the knees, hands towards the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale. Right foot steps back, left foot steps back into a high plank. Hold for 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. On your exhale, bend through the elbows, lower down towards the ground. And breathe out. Try not to hold your breath. It's very tempting. I'm going to take 3 more cobras. This time maybe pushing ourselves a little bit further, but making sure we're not overstretching in the spine. So take a nice deep breath in. Chest rises. Nice stretch through the back. Exhale. Ripple back down towards the ground. Inhale, push away from the ground. Chest rises up, head rises up. Exhale, back towards the ground. Inhale, head lifts up. Exhale, back down to the earth. Inhale, last time, we're going to push up into our plank. 3 breaths. And then back into our downward dog. This is our last plank of the day. There'll be no more planks. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Push back into that downward dog. Oh yeah. 3 breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Whew. Let something go. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. This time, we're going to walk the hands back towards the feet. So very slowly, pushing the weight from one hand into the other and walking back to the back end of our mats. And coming back into that forward fold, but this time we'll be at the back edge of our mat, not on the front edge of our mat. It might feel comfortable now to straighten through the backs of those legs. And we're just going to hang here for a few more breaths. If you still don't feel like you're that warm in those legs, keep a nice bend and let the stretch come into the lower back. And just hang there. On our next inhale, we'll take that halfway lift. Nice straight spine. And on an exhale, bend the knees, hands back down towards the earth. Inhale, push away, bend the knees, arms lift overhead, fingertips to touch. And hands back down towards the heart center. Okay. We're going to take one step forward, so we're in the center of our mat now. Actually, we'll take a step. We'll come back to the top of our mat. So we should be feeling a little bit warmer now. If you're brand new to yoga, you'll probably be feeling a lot of nice new sensations in the body. If you've done a little bit of yoga, or maybe you're just quite an active person, this might be quite easy for you. So just meet your edge. If you need to take a break at any point, take a break. You can pause the video, or you can just come back and sit in a child's pose. You can just come back into this position. And then join back in when you're ready. Okay. So, we're going to go through a little sequence. And we're going to do it once through on each leg. So I'll talk you through it and I'll guide you through it. And then after that we'll cool it down. Okay? So we're going to take a nice deep inhale. Lift the arms up overhead. Exhale down, back down towards the earth. Hands touch the mat. And we're going to step back with our right foot. So our right foot is going to step back towards the back of our mat, sorry. We're going to squeeze the thighs in towards each other. Try and get as much balance as we can. And when we feel like we've got a good amount of balance, we're going to rise up into a high lunge. So lifting those fingers up above the head. And you're going to have a deep lunge in the left leg. And a nice stretch out through the right leg, through the back leg. We're going to take 3 deep breaths here. So the front leg should be in a right angle. And the toe shouldn't be, the knee, not the toes are good. The knee shouldn't be past the toe. So you should be able to wiggle your big toe and see it. If not, your knee's probably a little bit too far forward. So push down into those hips to go a little bit deeper. Push out through that back leg, push that heel towards that back wall, and push the front leg, the left knee, towards the opposite wall. Hands up overhead. Take one more deep breath, inhale. And on our exhale, we're going to open up, twisting that back leg. So you're pivoting on the right leg, so that both feet are flat on the floor, but the right toes are now pointing on the diagonal. And you've still got that nice deep bend in the front leg, okay, in the left leg. Your arms are out nice either side in warrior 2. And your chest is nice back. Your pinkies can stretch back towards the back of the room. So let that chest open up. I'm going to hold it here for one more breath. Breathe it out. Take the gaze over those left fingertips. We're going to flip the palm. And inhale all together. On an exhale, we're going to reach up and back the left arm and take it into a reverse warrior. So that right arm stretching down the right leg, and those fingertips are up and back. Gaze towards the fingertips or wherever feels comfortable in your neck. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out, back into that warrior 2. On our next inhale, we're going to pivot back into that high lunge. So twisting back with that right foot, facing the front, coming back up into that lunge position with the hands overhead. Take a deep breath in all together. On an exhale, keeping that bend, we're going to plant the hands either side of the left foot. And pushing down into the ground, we're going to lift that left foot back to join the right foot, coming into a plank, pushing straight back into our downward dog. Promised you no planks. No more planks. Take a few breaths here before we go again on the other leg. So we're going to try something just for fun. We're going to try this time a little hop up towards the top of the mat. So we're going to bend those knees. And we're going to breathe in. On an exhale, we're going to gaze forward in between the hands. And we're going to jump up, bringing the feet in towards the hands. If you fall, laugh at yourself. And come and meet us back in a nice forward fold at the top of your mat. Maybe you succeeded, in which case you done good. You did good. Oh. Hanging back in our forward fold. Deep breaths. On your next inhale, rising up to that halfway lift. Exhale, back down. Inhale, bend those knees, rise up, hands overhead, fingertips to touch. Exhale, hands back to the heart center. So we're going to do that little sequence again on the other leg. So I'm going to move up to this, to this side of my mat, so you can see me a bit clearly. So same thing again, but this time on the left leg. Okay, so a little shake, that feels good. I'm going to have a sip of tea. Nice and cold, lovely. Okay. Alright. So on our next inhale, hands come up overhead, fingertips to touch. So nice inhale, hands towards the sky. Exhale, hands down towards the earth. Inhale, take that halfway lift. Yep. Exhale, bend the knees, come back into that forward fold. So this time we're going to step back with the left foot, coming back into that lunge. And just give yourself a second to get your balance. Squeeze those thighs in together, and when you feel like you're not going to fall, you're going to lift up into that high lunge. Hands up and overhead. So again, you want to make sure you've got that nice right angle. This time in the right leg, and that the back leg is straight and the heel is pushing, reaching towards that back wall. It should feel like there's a bit of a pull in opposite directions here. But at the same time, you want to keep those hips nice and grounded towards the floor. So it might be nice to get a little bounce. If you bend in that back leg and then you rise back up, you're probably going to be in the correct alignment and it's going to feel pretty comfortable, even though your legs should be burning. Hands up overhead. One more deep breath together. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And on your exhale, we're going to drop the weight back onto that left foot. Both feet now flat on the floor. Keeping the bend in the right leg, in that front leg. And the back toes this time, so the left toes are again facing on a diagonal. And the arms are out our sides. Whew. A few breaths here in Warrior Two. You should be really feeling it in those legs, especially if you're not used to doing a lot of strength work in the legs. This is really going to be working those thighs in all the right ways. All right. Take a nice inhale. Going to flip the palms and reach forward, up and back, coming back into that reverse warrior. Woo. You might have slightly lesser stretch. You might be sort of here, which is fine. Just try and keep your gaze up towards those fingertips. Pushing down so you've still got that nice bend in the front leg. Take an inhale, and on an exhale, come back into that warrior two. Exhale. Inhale, pivoting back into that high lunge, so twisting on that back foot. Try and keep your balance. Squeeze your thighs. And lift those arms back, up, overhead. Into that high lunge for just a breath. Inhale. And on your exhale, hands come down and plant either side of the right foot. Push down into the ground with those hands and lift that right leg up and back to join the left foot at the back of the mat. And then push straight back into your downward dog. No planks. Up in here. Downward dog. Whew. All right, we did good. So pushing down into those heels. Those heels might be a little bit closer to the ground now. They might be even further away from the ground. If we all take a nice inhale together, and just get one last deep stretch through the back of those legs. Trying to straighten them and push that heel down towards the earth as we push into the fingertips. Push up into those shoulder blades. And get a nice stretch through the whole body. Feeling that energy. Take a nice inhale all together. Rise up onto the toes, onto the balls of the feet. Exhale, we're going to lower those knees down to the ground. Back into the tabletop position. Okay. From here, you're going to walk your hands back towards your knees. Just take 2 breaths here to cool off. Just take a nice deep inhale. And a nice long exhale out through the mouth. Nice deep inhale through the nose. And a long exhale through the mouth. Now you're going to shift the weight into your left or your right hip, just so that you can unravel your legs, unfold your legs, and come into a seated position with your legs out in front. So you might need to shuffle a bit and readjust so that your hip bones are comfortably against the mat. Whew. And we're going to take a deep breath in, hands going to rise up, fingertips to touch above the head. Nice straight spine, and on an exhale, we're going to fold forward. So your forward fold might look like this, or you might be a little bit closer. But the main thing is that you're not pulling yourself forward and that you're thinking about pulling the stomach towards the thighs. Okay, it's much better that you get a stretch through the back of your body than you strain your hamstrings. It might even be nice to take a little bend in the knees. And then the stretch will be much stronger in your lower back. So just finding a moment of stillness here, taking some deep breaths, somewhere that you're comfortable. Knees can be bent or they can be straight, whatever feels more comfortable. For me today, because we've worked the legs a lot, it's nicer to keep the legs straight. But you go with what feels good in your body. Taking one more deep breath here. And on an exhale, rolling back up with a straight spine. So before we come to lay down onto our backs, we're just going to check in a tiny bit with our core. So shimmy forward if you need to, so your bum's nearer to the middle of your mat, and your feet are going to be flat on the mat. Spine nice and straight, and we're going to take a deep breath in, and on an exhale we're going to rock back so the weight comes off of the toes and into the bottom, into the sit bones, and the feet are going to lift up off of the ground and make a nice right angle. Now your hands can be wherever feels comfortable. For me, I'm going to have them out here, so they're sort of kind of matching what my legs are doing, but it might for you be more comfortable to have them here, just so you've got a little bit of support. Or if you really want a challenge, then you can straighten your legs up towards the sky. It's up to you. Nice middle ground though is here. So 3 options: you can be here holding onto your legs, or you can have your legs stretched out. Whatever one feels more comfortable for you. And we're just going to hold it here for 3 breaths. So reset, give your hips a little break, have a little wiggle, and we're going to hold that pose for 3 breaths, and we're going to do that 3 times. Scary. Okay, so nice deep inhale, and exhale, weight back into those sit bones, and we're going to take 3 breaths here. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. Exhale. Feet back down to the earth. Breathe. Take a breather. It's nice sometimes just to let the head drop towards the knees. Whew. Curve into the spine a little bit. One more breath, and then we're going to hold it again for another 3. Ready? We're going to inhale, shift the weight back into our sit bones. Exhale, find that position, find a little bit of balance, and holding it for 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Well, that was 3 breaths. One more. Inhale. Exhale, release. Challenged us. 4 breaths. So I'm straight through the spine. Curve over if you need to. Let the head go just for a moment. I'm going to do that one more time. And then we can rest. So nice inhale. Exhale, shift back. Find your position. Maybe challenge yourself on this last round. Legs up. Woo! Hold your balance. 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath. Inhale. I'm shaking. Exhale. And release. Go. Okay, just a nice little exercise to reset our hips. You can have your hands back behind you, resting on the mat with your fingertips facing forward. Or I quite like to bring my hands into prayer position, and then I can use my core a little bit more. But your core might be like, no. I want to rest. So if that feels better, you can have your hands behind you, or you can have them together in a prayer position at the heart. And we're just going to take an inhale. Exhale, let the knees drop over towards the right side, and your torso is going to shift. Whew. And face the side of the room. Inhale, bring the knees back towards the center. Exhale, other side, knees drop towards the left. Torso shifts over to the other side. Inhale, knees back. Exhale, knees to the right. Inhale, back to the center. Exhale, knees to the left. Exhale, back to center. One more time, knees towards the right. Exhale, knees to the left. And knees towards the center. So take a nice stretch out with the arms. Clasp the hands together. Point out the index fingers. And we're going to roll back down towards the ground. Really, really nice and slowly. So use your core. And then once our back reaches the earth, we can straighten out the legs and rest. Okay, so take a nice deep breath in. And we're going to roll back down as we exhale. Slowly through the spine. Yep. And when we reach the ground, arms can stretch out overhead. Feet can stretch out. Take a nice big stretch. Take some nice deep breaths. And then bring those arms down and take them out to either side of you. We're going to come into our final posture, which is corpse pose. Corpse because you look like a corpse in this pose. Or shavasana, as it's known in proper yogi terminology. So just letting everything go, letting the body feel nice and heavy, like it's melting into the ground underneath you. And closing the eyes down now. Taking that focus away from the physical and into the mental and maybe even the spiritual, depending on how you feel. And taking some nice deep breaths. You made it. You've done a whole yoga practice, start to finish. You did good. Even if you didn't manage every position or if you had to take breaks, you still did good. And if you floated through all of it with effortless ease, then hats off to you too. There's no competition. It's all about the journey. Taking some nice deep breaths. Just going to be here for a few more moments. Just allowing the nutrients of our practice to settle into our body. Allowing our mind and body a moment of calm to relax. Thanking our body for what it's just done for us. Thanking ourselves for showing up, working out, breathing, having fun, being silly. Now you can start to wiggle your toesies, wiggle your fingers, keep your eyes closed, resist the urge to open them and to run away and turn the video off. So wiggling through the fingers and toes. And we're going to very gently roll onto either side. I'm going to go to the left. Yep. And coming into a fetal position and resting your head on that left arm or whichever arm is closest to the ground. Keeping your eyes closed. Coming into that fetal position. Remembering what it was like to be a baby. To have no cares and no worries. Or fewer anyway. And we're going to slowly push up off the ground and come into a seated position, but keep the eyes closed if you can. We're going to rise up and come into a seat just how we started. If your eyes are open, that's fine. Close them again. If your eyes are still closed, well done. You resisted the urge. And palms resting gently on the knees. Eyes closed. Taking a few more deep breaths all together at the end of our practice. And inhale, arms are going to lift above the head. Fingertips to touch one last time. And on an exhale, bring the hands down back into the heart center. One more, inhale together. Exhale, bow the head to the fingertips. In gratitude for yourself and for this practice. Namaste. Yeah.